been making videos on YouTube for almost 4 years now, but I have a unique perspective on YouTube. So I started off the YouTube channel primarily aimed at US viewers. But over time, YouTube automatically showed my channel more and more to Indian viewers who were viewing English content on YouTube. So while the channel started off with a majority of US based audience, it shifted very quickly to a majority of Indian based audience. And I want to show you in this video how YouTube ad revenue works among different geographies. And generally speaking, the niche that my market is in, like digital marketing, business, this niche has some of the highest CPMs that are available on YouTube. So let's take a deeper look at how YouTube ad rates fluctuate by different countries. And believe me, you're going to be a bit shocked. Now, before I even show you the numbers, it's important to know one thing. What YouTube pays me is a percentage of what YouTube makes. And what YouTube makes is what the advertisers are bidding on particular topics and particular niches. So if there are a lot of advertisers willing to spend a lot of money in a particular niche, I'm going to get a big chunk of that. But if there are less advertisers in a niche, or if those advertisers are not willing to spend a lot of money or not willing to bid high, or both, then the CPM, which is the amount of revenue a video makes per 1,000 impressions, is also going to be much lower. Going into advanced mode on my YouTube channel, even though my channel is small, but still it gives some fascinating looks at how the YouTube business really works out and how much advertisers are really willing to pay to acquire leads and customers in different regions of the world. So for the last 28 days, even though this channel did about $1,000 in estimated revenue, what's important to note is how much of it came from which country, right? So let's go to geography, and here we're going to see from India we had almost 67% of the views come in, but we also had 9% of the views come in from United States, and we had 1% from United Kingdom, 0.9% from Canada. Now, what we want to see is something really interesting. I'm going to add the estimated revenue, all right? Now, estimated revenue is the amount that I'm going to make per country, even though the views are like 67% from India and only 9% from United States, but still United States accounts for 42% of the revenue that I'm making. And check this out. 0.9% of the views that have come in from Canada, like 1,500 views, is giving me $60 in estimated ad revenue, which is crazy when you compare like 67% of the views that bring in just $287 from India. Now let's add another metric into the mix. We're going to add in CPM. Now CPM according to YouTube is the effective cost per mile, or the estimated average gross revenue per 1,000 served ad impressions. Now here it is important to note that we are not getting the earnings that I make off of YouTube is not the gross ad revenue. Gross ad revenue is split between YouTube and myself. How do we get to know that? Well, if we click on plus and we look at the YouTube ad revenue, so we get to see the difference here, and here is the YouTube total ad revenue. So out of $1,809, YouTube keeps around $800 and I get to keep $1,000. We're going to hide YouTube ad revenue right now because this is not what concerns us. What concerns us is the estimated revenue that I make, right? And because the percentage is always the same, as you see, 28.7, 28.7. So it doesn't really matter if we keep YouTube ad revenue here or not. So we're going to just hide this metric and have a look at CPM and the estimated ad revenue. Now, as you can see, United States CPM is $77.88 per 1,000 impressions. That is, advertisers are willing to spend almost $78 for every 1,000 views on my videos. And on India, the advertisers in India are willing to spend just $3.76 for every 1,000 views that comes through from Indian audience. Absolutely nutters. But has this always been like this? No. Now, as I mentioned earlier, a majority of my views were coming from United States because that's where my content was aimed at when I started off this channel. And let's have a look at the stats at that point of time. So the time frame we're looking at is July 1st to December 31st, 2017. If I look at the CPM then, advertisers were spending $20.56 per 1,000 impressions. Now, bear in mind, the content on my channel has remained largely the same. I've always been talking about business and digital marketing since the beginning of this channel. So what this says is that advertisers now in United States are spending almost 4 times the money that they were spending in 2017. But in India, the reverse has happened. In India, advertisers are spending lesser now than they were spending in 2017 per 1,000 impressions. Largely, Canada, UK and US are in the same range, like $20 to $23 CPM. So if we look at in terms of percentage, 355% was the difference in 2017. So advertisers in the US were paying almost 355% more than advertisers in India. Now let's look at what has happened this year so far. Advertisers have spent 81.21 divided by 4.14. Comparing Indian and US advertisers, we are seeing a 1961% difference, and that is absolutely insane. Advertisers in US are paying 19.6 times more than advertisers in India. And here we also start to see a big difference between UK, Canada as well as Australia. Canada and Australia are still $66 and $67, but as we see here, UK is cheaper than US, which is the most expensive right now at $81. I need to think on how YouTube can show my content to an American audience more than to Indian audience now. I can probably be making 20 times more revenue with the same number of views. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button below. I will see you next time. Until then, okay, tata, bye bye.